Hi guys, it's me, Uncle Nabil, and I'm back again. Let's see what's happened in these last 2 weeks. Let's get it. The White House accidentally texted war plans to a journalist. Like, on a scale of 1 to 10 of the worst and dumbest things you could possibly do. That's like sending the combination to your safe to a known thief. He can't even get arrested for like stealing information. It was given to him. What a result. That's crazy.
Accidentally invited to a Signal chat group.
So he was invited into a chat group.
Yeah.
What's up? What's up?
What's up? What's up?
What is it about all these chat groups like WhatsApp and Telegram? Is it that it's just a bunch of boomers that don't know how to use social media and phones? They need to get like millennials and younger to handle the social media aspect of these things, because these slip-ups keep on happening. Like, come on. How you gonna... Basically, they got done by a WhatsApp chat. By WhatsApp.
What's up?
The loser that keeps on losing, Drake. This is how you blow like a 90-point lead in life. You know, how do you go from being at the top of your game, being the most powerful rapper alive, to this? His diss tracks that all the Drake fans were talking about, oh yeah, he got Kendrick, he's exposed Kendrick for being a wife beater, has now been proven to be false by his own hand, because messages that he sent to other members of his crew have been exposed. That's right, this guy's life is leakier than the Labour Party chat group. This guy actually admits to knowing nothing about the images that he claimed was sent or fed to Kendrick for him to write his diss track. So that whole, yeah, I fooled you, I planted that stuff because I knew you'd call me a pedo. Drake is the biggest industry plant we've seen since Milli Vanilli. Blame it on the rain. The level of hypocrisy in Drake's game is shameless. At this point, I won't be surprised if Drake gets dropped, if he hasn't been dropped already. His fall has been epic. His new album is not doing as well as people falsely reported it was initially. At this point, he's like a drowning man, just like reaching for anything to pull down with him. It makes me wonder, who did Drake piss off? Because this is what we call a humiliation ritual. 5 years since the pandemic that, rocked the world, and what have we learned? We've learned that Joe Rogan was right about ivermectin, apparently. We've learned that people panic and will kill each other over toilet roll. And I want people to look back, and I have survivor's guilt for lockdown, because probably the biggest jump in my career happened when everybody else was crashing. That's what it meant for me. But it also meant that I lost friends whose funerals I couldn't attend. I want you guys now, in the height of all this rhetoric about refugees and immigrants, and actually this might be controversial, but I'll say it. There is an immigration problem, I guess. You can argue that based on facts and figures, there is an issue. But when you dehumanize these people, I want you to remember, it wasn't long ago that we were fighting each other over toilet roll and hand sanitizer. What have we learned? What have we learned? Do you know how to use toilet paper now? Have you built a bidet in your house? Or do you still walk around with dingleberries? What have you learned? Labour has made some cuts. Those cuts, of course, will not affect the expenses that politicians, MPs, they're not affected. They can still, all these extra allowances they have for their marching powder that they take when they're in parliament, These baboons, and I say this not as an insult, because when you have a group of fish, what are they called? Frankie, what are they called? A group of fish.
A shoal.
I thought it was school, but okay.
Oh.
Okay, let's give you another one. When you have a group of wolves together, what are they called?
A pack.
When you have a group of lions, what are they called?
A pride.
Yes. But when you have a group of baboons together, what are they called?
I don't know.
A parliament. That's what they're called, and with good reason. These baboons have cut disability benefits. To be honest, again, this is Uncle Nabil's right-wing side coming out, but I know so many people that claim that shit unjustly. I've never claimed the benefit in my life, even though there were times I probably could have needed it, could have used it, but I know people who have nothing wrong with them that claim, and they're like, I'm going on holiday. No, I'm not saying you shouldn't go on holiday, but I'm saying they're living lavishly. They're not paying as much rent as a lot of us hardworking people are. All I'm saying is this: don't cut it. Just make sure the right people get it. Come forward. Slap you idiots too.
Oh, wow.
people were crying. Apparently, us lot, Nigerians abroad, jackbas, are said to be widening the class gap in Nigeria. I understand some of the argument there because foreign currency, the exchange rate is crazy right now when you take it back home to Nigeria. And even though the inflation is crazy, money still does spread further in Nigeria whilst you're there, apart from maybe when you're buying imported stuff. But my counter to this argument is, why is our currency so shit right now? It has nothing to do with us abroad. That has everything to do with the people that you back home have allowed to become president. Nigerian politicians who are spending the national budget to buy planes for their friends and their girlfriends and steal enough money so that in 7 generations, we still haven't even found all the money Abacha embezzled. And that was 50, 60 years ago. Abacha stole so much money he could fill a city with it. Nigeria were at one point the 3rd or 4th highest oil producing country in the world with a good exchange rate, and then saw none of that money. Exaggeration, but there's probably 4 Nigerians right now living who could clear Nigeria's debt and still not be poor with their own funds. And you guys want to complain about those of us that are here working, committing crime as well. Hold tight, hush puppy, free my guy. You guys want to complain about Nigerians abroad? Well, hey, here's the thing. If politicians weren't destroying Nigeria, you think I'd be here? I like having the sun. I like having fresh organic food every day and not having to pay an arm and a leg for it. It's not our fault. It's the government. The government. That's who's causing the problems. It's state of emergency in Rivers State, I think Governor Fubara. Tinubu has declared the state of emergency. Listen, it has been a state of emergency in the Niger Delta forever. Okay? I've been saying this. Companies like Shell, BP, and the like that are in Nigeria have been exploiting that land and are directly responsible for the death of Ken Saro-Wiwa, the suffering of the Ogoni people. And unfortunately, pipe vandalism is the only way they can get back at these companies. So rather than declaring a state of emergency, how about you, one, allow Dangote to build refineries that hire Nigerians instead of bringing foreigners over to Nigeria and taking all our fatting jobs, right? And polluting our water. How about actually giving some money to the people of the Niger Delta, giving some reparations to the Ogoni people? All of this other stuff is bollocks. It's not going to do anything. Like, the whole of Nigeria is in a state of emergency. Tinubu doesn't care. Nigerians keep on allowing presidents that are in their 80s, early 70s to rule. If you sneeze on this guy, he might vaporize. He doesn't give a shit about the Niger Delta. These people are too... That's why when you see these youth protesting, I've seen a video one time of the people protesting in Nigeria and the police just put their guns down and let them go, because even the police have had it. However, them police officers probably haven't eaten either. State of emergency declared in the Niger Delta, but what is happening in the Niger Delta now, or in Cross Rivers, or whatever, what is happening in that whole patch of Nigeria now that hasn't been happening for the last 50 years? Nothing. Speaking of African presidents, to get it right, President Traoré, the youngest African head of state, this guy is 34. Makes me think, what am I doing with my life? This guy is 34 and has had a whole coup and taken over his country. And he has had 16 attempts on his life so far that we know of, from America and England and so on, and France. 16 attempts. This guy was offered by the Saudis, gracious offer to build 200 mosques in Burkina Faso, and his reply was, no merci. He said, look, we already know how to pray. If you really want to help us, build schools, build hospitals. Everywhere in Africa, particularly West Africa, you find mosques. This is the problem. A lot of charity, I think, across the Muslim world, we sometimes forget about the practicality of things. Like even here in the UK, everyone's, oh yeah, let's build a mosque somewhere. Have you checked to see if those people have food and water? Because if everybody's starving, it's going to be a lot harder for them to make it to that mosque to pray. So I don't know, man. The bad man of the year, I think, is Ibrahim Traoré. That guy is, forget Andrew Tate. President Traoré is the real top G. And now, guys, a word from our sponsor.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am here to announce that the legendary comedian, satirist, LGBT human rights activist, how may I describe you? Nabil Abdulrashid will be continuing his new tour. Why are you gay? No, wait. It is Urban Batuta. Buy your tickets now on nabilaabdulrashid.com and watch him perform his natural obligations live. Why are you not buying tickets? Why are you gay?
A place not renowned for weird shit happening in Florida, there was a gender reveal party at an Italian restaurant, and it was a meatball themed gender reveal party. And they knew that it was a girl because they poured pasta sauce over the spaghetti but with no meatballs. And the mother said she cried. She said she cried when she saw there were no meatballs because she wanted a boy. To be fair, I'd cry if there were no meatballs too because I'd want the meatballs. No diddy. Israel, for the 962nd time, has broken treaty with Palestine, and this was premeditated. They've kidnapped a guy who recently won, was it a Grammy or an Emmy? For Oscar? Yeah, was it Hamdan Abdullah his name? Or? This is a filmmaker, not terrorist, whatever that definition of that word is these days. This guy just made a film documenting the struggles of Palestinian people. And I just want to say, if you're a journalist, if you're someone who even just covers stories of the news online and you're not talking about this, you are a coward and a scumbag. This is why the press is all bad, because this man hurt no one. Hamdan Bilal was a filmmaker. He didn't hurt anyone. He wasn't a gunman. He wasn't a preacher. None of that. Just made a film. Could you imagine someone killing Quentin Tarantino, Steven Spielberg, Ryan Coogler? They kidnapped this man and they tortured him and brutalized him. There is no worldview, not Judaism, not Islam, not Christianity, not humanitarianism. There is no sensible, non-demonic view that justifies the murder. Let's look at the state of the hostages being released. These hostages are kissing their captors. They're coming out looking healthy, clean, well fed. Now let's look at the few Palestinians that Israel has released. They're coming back after having been sexually A-worded, they've been tortured, they've been starved, they've been infected with disease. Some of them come back with brain trauma. You can't compare. And then I can't even use YouTube without some advert coming, Israel is still fighting Hamas. No, this is wrong. There's no jokes about this. This is terrible. Jamie Lang, who I was trapped in a box with for way longer than anybody should be trapped in any space with anyone. He's a top man. He's only gone and run a marathon to
5 ultra marathons.
5 ultra marathons. Wow. I don't know, man. That muesli gives you super strength. Is all I'm saying, man. Oh yeah, look at me. I'm running. I'm going to stop in Chanda. Whoa, I'm going to run some more. No, it was amazing, man. Like, you know, the amount of fitness and discipline it would take to do that. I personally have never understood marathons for charity. Just give the money. Why do we need to see somebody nearly kill himself before we give them money to do so? Pick up Jamie, man. He's a good guy. He's got a big heart. One of my childhood favorite boxers, may or may not know this, but Uncle Nabil is a lifelong combat sports fan, and my first love was boxing. I was a big fan of George Foreman. Obviously, Muhammad Ali is the GOAT, but you know, that was an era in boxing that we've never had since. These guys were larger than life characters, comparable only to guys you see in the WWE. These were the original boxers that you could see on a cereal box. Now, I always really liked George Foreman for many reasons. Like, I came to know George Foreman in his, you know, older incarnation where he was bald. And I always liked George because he looked a lot like my dad. When my dad was younger, he looked just like George Foreman. He looked like that big friendly uncle at the barbecue, was full of love and would give everyone a big hug, but you didn't want to get on the bad side of. And I remember growing up watching his sitcom, you know, Play the Family Guy, and we had a George Foreman grill. So good, put my name on it. And he was a big inspiration to people because, you know, he retired from boxing, became a minister of the church for a good 10 years, returned to boxing in his late 30s, early 40s, and became the oldest person to win a heavyweight boxing title, despite having grueling bouts with people like Evander Holyfield. This guy saw the last bell fighting Evander Holyfield, who would go on to beat up Mike Tyson. He also showed that you can turn a new leaf, because early in his career, George Foreman was a big, brooding, menacing, scary guy. Later, he became that person that, you know, the whole family loved. He was a good example of evolution, second chances, redemption, and so on. Salute to George Foreman. By the time you watch this, it will be Eid, so Eid Mubarak, Taqabbalallahu minna wa minkum. Please think about the less fortunate when you're celebrating. Think about people that don't have the ability to celebrate. So whether that's in Tigray, Ethiopia, Eritrea, Somalia, Uyghur, China, Kashmir, wherever it is, Birmingham, think about less opportune people and just try not to be an asshole, even if it's only for a day. Alright guys, so that's the end of today's video. Just so you know, from the 3rd of April, I am back on tour You can catch me in many cities. If you want to know what ones, go on nabilabdulrashid.com. That's me.com for tickets. I'm going, there's so many more shows left on the tour, some international dates to be announced as well. So make sure you come, and if you are part of, Team Nabil, if you subscribe to the channel, watch the videos, make sure you stick around, say hello after the shows. I don't bite. You have to pay me extra for that.